Mm. Greetings, campers. So it's about 8:30, 20 to 9 on Halloween. Yesterday was All Hallows Eve. That's when the real energy flows. So that's the one you got to be careful of. Halloween is just like, happy time. But a lot of interesting, a lot of good stuff, a lot of stuff going on. Not sure where to start. So let's start with the food stamp thing tomorrow. A lot of people talking about we're going to have food riots and terror campaigns and looting and rioting. Very well may be. And my thought, I'll give you my perspective on this, which is a little different than the average bagel bender. And I think what we're looking at is a planned play by the communist-infused Democrats. They stop the government, then they're going to create the, in Farmer Jones talk, the fertile soil for a revolution and do their Bolshevik 2.0 and foment it and guide it with the street thugs, etc. Now, that may be the plan. I don't know that it'll work because it seems that this whole SNAP food stamp program is replete with all kinds of waste, fraud, and abuse. It appears, and again, you get data out there, depending on what your source is, that the majority, like 59%, I think it's higher than that, but 59% of the beneficiaries of that program are basically immigrants that are using it. They're saying from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from other countries all around the world. The minimal, I mean, blacks don't have a huge perspective on that. I think it was like only 20% of blacks are on that. And out of the numbers that I saw, it's like only 8 or 9% of whites. Now, I spoke with a guy at the supermarket yesterday, and I said, what are you guys thinking about, food riots and looting? And it was the pharmacist. He was walking around in the aisles, and he said, well, what they say is it's 3 days until you have food riots. And I know I've heard that quote and that number from Senator Grassley, and he was concerned last time Trump was in office because, the manipulators were there trying to create food shortages, the Stalin-esque starvation attempt when they were shutting down meat processing plants based on COVID. So, they said the workers were sick and therefore they had to shut down plants. And Grassley was not happy about that. And he made the point. So, are we going to have exploding food riots? There's all kinds of crazy stuff online. I'll put a couple of things out. Our boy over at Riverside Homestead, I forgot his name, but he seems to be concerned. He's concerned about Walmart. He's put out a quote, and again, is it accurate? He doesn't know. I don't know whether Walmart may actually close to customers and make it you order online and pick it up. Well, this ties into, again, a further larger picture. Uh-oh. Timing is good. Hang on. I got to plug in, loop this around. Stay with me, campers. Okay. Can't tell if we're charging, but it didn't do its little buzz, so hopefully we're on. Yeah, so Walmart's doing that to avoid looting and everything else, right? Sneakers, iPhones. But yeah, it's interesting. So this guy, Cohen, that's his name. And he shows some videos of these guys screaming, and women, a lot of black women making noise about this. But there are other people, black men, saying, hey, the food stamps, this SNAP program, people are selling their benefits at a discount to get cash to go get their nails and hair and whatnot done. And then screaming, oh, I need my money. Okay, well, interesting. So I guess it's we'll see, but I'm just going to tell you, wake up, campers, give it a heads up. people are now talking about it. Today's Friday. Food stamps supposed to end tomorrow. I'm calling it food stamps. It's a SNAP program. Really Graceful did an interesting perspective on it, but so give it 3 days from then before people who are really starving will come out and cause mayhem. And you can't blame them. I mean, if they're starving and they're using food stamps for what they're supposed to be used for, those people should not be getting cut off. But if this is the dog whistle to play politics, etc., which is what I think it is, then we have a problem. Now, Trump has ordered that the National Guard be ready for quick mobilizations as per Timcast. Now, quick mobilizations starting in January. Well, that's not going to do him a whole lot of good or the country a whole lot of good, in the next week or two. So we'll see how that plays. But if you look at the big picture, who's really benefiting from SNAP? 42 million Americans or people, whether they're citizens or not, are using that program. So this is clearly a government infiltration. And what's happening is they could use it as a control play. Who's benefiting? How much money do the banks make who are processing the SNAP card infusions monthly? How about the supermarkets? How much money is being infused into them from government money? Gracie pointed that out, right? Now, if you want to look at it again, further big picture, if Walmart shuts its stores and says you have to order online and pick it up, in the curbside delivery, now, doesn't this now push everything to more online? And I could see it expanding to digital ID, right? This is a whole push into cyber realm control. As they say, se dice no bueno, so know your local farmer, eh? This is very interesting. I'm seeing that. And, if they want to go and push this into Bolshevik 2.0, it could get nutsy, and then Trump could declare martial law. I'd be curious to see how Chicago reacts to this. Will they burn things down? Just make mayhem? I don't know. I mean, I'm in Florida here. I don't think we'll have a big problem in Florida. There may be sporadic situations of legitimate people having problems, and they may try to shoplift and take some food. That's different than loading up your grocery cart and go crashing out the front door. That's what their noise is talking about. So I'm going to put in Riverside Homestead, but he seems to be very worried about it, and he's afraid. So you got to see some of the people and some of the stupidity going on these videos. And I mean, everybody wants to be a good clip. It was discussion of Gen Z. What do they want to be when they grow up? They want to be social influencers. That's their goal in life. Okay. So you got that. And then there's another one. Matt Morse did it. Discussion of the Democrat. You got to love the number, campers. Ready? Stay with me. $33.6 billion SNAP scandal. Now, is that him with that number, or is that more deep state signal flare? We're in the game. Just like the FBI took 33 hours to locate the alleged shooter. I don't know. And Kash Patel keeps pinging that out there. There's more going on with that, but we'll leave that for a little later or another time. All right, so that's the food stamp thing. Now, I'm going down here, and I'm going to put these in the order I mentioned them for your review. So we got Riverside, we got Matt Morris. Matt is interesting. Now, I found some stuff that I thought was fascinating. In case you haven't been paying attention, the stock market has been going crazy, all in tech. So the Fed reduced rates by 1/4 point. Okay, good. There was no big rah-rah over that. Okay, that was expected. Amazon, UPS, Target are laying off thousands of people. Now, is this AI, or are they dealing with an expected economic downturn because the economy is slowing? 18,000 here, 18,000 there. There's a lot of people losing jobs as we go into the winter holiday season. Interesting. So maybe the Fed has delayed their rate cut long enough to destroy the economy. We'll see. But I guess they don't have inflation because they wrecked the economy. Nobody has explained to me yet, and I'll ask you, explain to me how raising prices or raising interest rates and keeping them high reduces the cost of things. Don't see the logic, but that's the nonsense that has been ingrained in mainstream media and the economic brainwashing, if you want to call it that, of the American public. Now, Trump did a tour of Asia, met with President Xi. I haven't listened to his discussion yet, got all the talking heads spinning it. But I think very important, I got to talk about the AI situation and the stock markets. It's circular financing. This is a concern. It's like a giant Ponzi scheme. This is my cigarette that went out. Let me light it up. I pulled a bunch of these. I'm going to throw the first one at you. This is a woman who analyzes it. There's a point in here she makes because one of the concerns is the restrictions on China of the type of NVIDIA chip that they can buy. They're not letting them get the newest, latest, and greatest. However, what this woman points out, and this is about a 10-minute analysis, and it's excellent. She says there is a way around it, and what's been happening is there is like a subsidiary company in the Netherlands who is not an American company, and therefore is not restricted by the limitations of the Trump imposition. So China and other countries who are supposedly limited of what they can buy from NVIDIA are not. So it looks like sound and fury signifying nothing, smoke and mirrors. Fascinating. You want to watch this. I mean, on my list right here, right, I have that as the #1 link. So I don't know. I should do that because that's really the most important. So I'm going to give you the short version on it. The way it works is this. Microsoft invests, say, pick a number, $20 billion into AI. And what is this company? OpenAI. Okay. In exchange, they get a percentage of ownership of that company. So now they have stock in the company, which they hold as an asset. Okay. So when the value of that stock goes up, Microsoft value goes up. Simultaneously, little quid pro Ponzi scheme quo, OpenAI buys cloud services from Microsoft. So that becomes revenue to Microsoft, so their profits are good. So their revenue stream and profits are strong going up, and the value of AI goes up because they're doing business and growing because of the massive infusion, and that value also increases the value of Microsoft. And she walks you through multiple companies and then NVIDIA. Now, just for the record, NVIDIA now, I believe, is a $5 trillion company. I was listening to Louis Navier on his little commentary, and he says that value is more than the full value of the stock exchanges. I think he said of France, Germany, and another country in Europe combined. So this is NVIDIA. So the question is it a bubble? Is it a Ponzi scheme? Are we in the same world as the mortgage-backed securities that we had in 2008? Or is this going to move forward? Now, I put a bunch of links here, and I'll put them in, but I'm going to, it's hard to do. All right, look, I'm going to keep my order. So I changed my mind from the earlier comment. All right, so we got the first one is circular financing. Second one is more circular financing. And we'll just leave those two. Bloomberg, circular financing, AI, circular bubble. And then I found an interesting thing with which I'm not done, so I'll leave that out now. So this is very interesting, very interesting. And if you think about it, the people investing in the stock market are funding their own imprisonment of the AI surveillance world and control. Isn't that the best? said facetiously, right? Okay, so I mentioned Riverside Homestead with the food stamps, Matt Morse on the food stamps. I got a couple of very interesting. This is quite a massive display. It's been a while. I thought it's only been a week. I looked. It's been 10 days since I put up a video. Wow, sorry about that. Our girl Christina Ayayo, Aguayo. The G is pronounced as a Y, so it's Ayayo. Okay, she's great. She's out of Dallas, Texas, but she does a great report talking about BlackRock and their housing game, the auto pen, and the polio vax cancer risks. Wow. 3 points. I should put that as number 2. That's a very important thing. Now, let me talk about BlackRock and their housing game, which is maybe 5 minutes into her little clip. Will pay, and it's not them, it'll be a subsidiary spin-off controlled off-balance sheet accounting company on the books, will buy at 50% more than market value. So you got a $200,000 house for sale in a middle-class neighborhood. Now that becomes a $300,000 house. They pay for it. That company then sells it to another company wholly owned by either BlackRock or the primary for $600,000. So now somebody just paid $600,000 for a property worth $200,000. Now, what does this do? Makes it unaffordable. But there's like 50,000 houses that these guys have bought in this type of a format. Okay? Now, why is nothing being done about it? Well, let's talk about property taxes. So $200,000, your property taxes on one level. $300,000, it goes up. It's $600,000. Your local county government is very happy because you have an artificial number, and somehow the cost of tax goes up and they are revenue rich. Why would they want to stop this? But now there's a whole argument saying that, wait a minute, property taxes, nothing changed in the environment other than this value of a property. Why is the tax going up? Is there a massive infusion that we need more roads and schools and things supposedly being paid for by property tax? Or is it just a matter of stripping equity from your home? Okay, this is a thing coming to the fore, and this is why DeSantis in Florida is looking to remove this whole property tax thing, right? If you own your home free and clear, no mortgage, if you don't pay your property taxes, the state, county could come and foreclose on your property on a tax lien sale, etc., right? No bueno. So that's very interesting. So this may be why, it's postulation, why with the BlackRock little shell game, nobody on the local level is really stopping them because they're being enriched. Same way as your stock purchase value goes up while your imprisonment is being built. Same thing, right? Okay, here's the food for thought on Halloween after we have survived All Hallows Eve. Now, that's the BlackRock piece. The auto pen, there was about 100-page report referred from this guy. It's not Massey, it's what's his name, Comer, from Kentucky, I believe, to the DOJ about all of the people surrounding Biden who were using the auto pen, and it appears that he had no knowledge or consent. But what Comer says, he phrases it to try to avoid, in my view, it looked like these people had taken over the government. Instead, they're saying, well, we don't know if Biden authorized it. We don't know if Biden even knew this was going on. Okay? So that's a whole different thing. He clearly didn't authorize it. Okay? So therefore, they conclude that these numerous, enormous, voluminous pardons are invalid because he didn't issue them. Okay, the auto pen did. And then they're trying to say, well, the protocol of the auto pen has to be him approving it. This is why we watch Trump signing all of these executive orders, because he's signing it. It's not the auto pen. So this is important, and it's a good thing for we the people. And I think there's so much stuff going on because the amount of crap that was going on in Biden's administration, which I saw some of it, was very worried about the impact, is being revealed. Expose the deception, reveal the truth. And we're seeing it, and this crew in this administration is seeing it, finding it, and trying to resolve it. Now, Biden hammered on America for 4 years, and his team did. Biden just was like the brain dead figurehead. That has a ring to it. Make a song out of that, the brain dead figurehead. There you go. But interesting, because it's got to be untangled. And Trump over in China, there was a good point to that. China is agreeing to buy soybeans. The problem is the crop been harvested, and is it going to rot in the loading docks, or what? We'll see. But he did resolve that the U.S. and the Chinese restriction on the rare earth will be lifted for us for 1 year. So, this is strong stuff, and strong stuff. And Mike Adams, no soup for you. He's interesting. Now, I didn't really hear him talk about this food crisis shortage, and I'm concerned. So, just as a instructions camper, pick up a little extra food so you don't have to go out there, because maybe these clowns are not going to go loot the store. Maybe they're just going to rob people leaving the store, going to their cars, right? So it could get stupid out there real quick. Again, Florida is an open carry state and or concealed carry state. So, good guys and bad guys can do that. So it could get real stupid real fast. And I know in the hurricane thing a couple of years ago, I don't know if law enforcement was authorized to shoot looters, but there was not a lot of looting going on in the hurricanes when they got hit a little further south. There was that in Palm Beach County a little bit, and then down in Broward. That's not the one out in Naples. I don't think they had much looting out there, but they had set it up. It's preparation for an incoming storm. And DeSantis is excellent. He's got that military background, and he's got a team that cares, right? As what's his face? Elon says, the problem is these people don't care who work in government. Well, down here, I reckon they do. Okay. So the other one is the polio vax, which is a clip in here. You're going to watch this, Christina Ayago or Igayo, if you go phonetically. That's his LinkedIn. I'm going to put that as 2. All right. Is Kennedy talking about SV, simian virus 40, which causes cancer. It causes tumors. He said they use that in labs to create cancerous tumors in order to test in lab rats and guinea pigs. Now, so it causes tumors. This is what was in the vaccine in the 50s. And I don't know if it was just the first run, but that was like the boomer generation. And he's saying that this killed how many, 90 million people, caused cancer in them. Interesting. So did this create the need for the cancer business? Very interesting. Disturbing. Now, it didn't, what's her name? Judy Mikovits? Wasn't she talking about the infection or the infiltration or the contamination of the vaccines of SV1 5 years ago? I think she was, right? She was tough to follow, but she was kind of PTSD'd on a number of things. And her husband was also dying. So, was another stress point, and she had to take care of him. Let's see. But this is amazing. So Christina Ayago or Ayayo. I'm going to listen again and see if I get it right. She pronounces her name for us. Okay. Now, another fascinating thing, and there's a couple of campers. I got a shout out to Good Witchy, who I haven't heard from in ages. Good to hear from you. She sent me a link. That's a very long discussion by Danny Jones. I haven't watched it, but I'm going to. I have it bookmarked, and I copied the link, so I'm going to check that. Maybe we'll hit you back with that next time, campers. I'm sure it's excellent, because the last thing she sent me a long time ago was also excellent, and I shared that. This was sent to another camper who popped out of the left field and said, hey, check this out. This is Alex Jones talking with Jesse Beltran. Now, this is actually Jesse on the second hour or the third hour of Alex's show. He's the host. He's the guest host. This guy has researched. This is heavy duty. The nanoparticles that are implanted in people that are causing what they call Havana syndrome. And that's like the ringing in the ears, voices, sounds, crazy shit happening, intended to make people look like they're crazy, right? And they can be activated from microwaves, they can be activated from 5G, they can be activated perhaps as simple as an Xbox controller. This is an amazing discussion. The first 30 minutes, he's kind of warming up. It's the hour's worth of the show. The second half, if you jump in at the 30-minute mark, he really goes into the meat of this stuff and shows people being scanned and tested, because people are complaining about this. Everybody and their friends, family, and spouses think they're nuts. But they scanned them and they found that RF, radio frequency, was being emitted from their bodies, and there's points of, like in the jaw, the TMJ, back of the skull, the heart area, the arm areas. And then this guy, Jesse, in this show shows a patent of where these nanotechnology particles will be implanted, or maybe they can be guided. I don't know. But I got to tell you, the readings on this meter on people who are complaining, they test positive. They're actually emitting. And then they say they surgically remove these from people and it helped them. But this is not the nano. These are the small ones. They've been doing this crap for 20 years, which is about right? The urgency is 20 years ahead of what we've got. And you remember how they always made fun of the tinfoil hats. Okay, well, that's cute. So they wanted to mock tinfoil and, shame and embarrass and mock it and make fun of it to discourage anybody from even thinking in that direction. Well, it turns out that tinfoil does stop incoming radiation that would activate these little transmitters. So this is an amazing thing what they got going on. And then, of course, we have the COVID vax with the nanoparticles and the graphene. So this is really an amazing bit here. The Alex Jones, John Beltran, Jesse Beltran. Fascinating thing. And then two interesting things. I don't know if I'm going to put all of those, the AI circular. I'm going to put the one AI circular. I'm going to put Christina Ayayo on the BlackRock housing. This is an excellent report she did. And then I'm going to do the food problems, right? Which is the food stamp. I mean, that's like a little disturbing. It's a lot disturbing, and it's definitely fear-mongering. And Matt Moore. So again, pick up some extra stuff, throw it in the freezer so you don't have to run out there. And here's the next problem. And they're talking, it could be part of the Democrat psyop with Hollywood. Make sure you got your influencers out there pushing this crap. And the argument should be that, if the stuff is being stolen, the stores are wrecked, they're not going to be able to receive further food, so we're going to have shortages. So then the trucks aren't going to be running, and it's going to impact everything up and down the supply chain. So are we pushing this into the Holodomor, the Holodomor, which is the Ukrainian starvation of what Stalin did, which of course the media denied then. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. You decide. But I'll grab some extra stuff. Make sure you got some protein and, you know, your basic fettuccine and some tomato sauce so you can make a nice chicken with red sauce. But I'll tell you what, I've been cooking, and I think I got to do some cooking with FJ shows. I apologize, we're not doing the olive oil today. I still have like 6 or 7 different bottles and cans up on the kitchen counter. I'm going to have to do it in the kitchen, and interesting, but I've been making some interesting stuff and cooking with FJ with fun things, and we did them on the YouTube channel. All right, so this is going up on Bitch Ute, and I'm putting it in Patreon, and I think I behaved myself, so I'll put this up on YouTube, and I'll the comments on YouTube, and I'll put the links to both in both, right? So you guys on YouTube, if you want to know what I'm doing, you've been missing your FJ fix, listen, check out the Bitch Ute, because there's been a lot of material. That's been the only place I've been going, but I've been going on. Well, what have you been doing? I told you what I've been doing. You want to listen? It's there. And the same amazing links are there. And of course, in Patreon, I put that there and on BitChute. So check that. I'll give you the BitChute link. And you guys on BitChute, I know we're restricted in England, so we'll see. With our expats. Let me think here for a second. 2 more cool things. I digressed. And somebody, I mean, great comments. Everybody missed me. Very nice stuff. Somebody gave me a definition of an incantation. Yes, the reason we know about incantations, campers, is in college, I wrote my senior thesis on Shakespeare and the occult. So I researched that. And of course, you learn more than you need to do your thesis. So guitars, somebody did 7 albums. A lot of you folks out there, I didn't even comment, but thank you, and it's good to hear from you. Maybe I'll do a whole separate one just for the YouTube, just a shorty. Yes, and there was one other one. The Canadian campers, yay. Good to see you again. And great stuff. Thank you for your kind words and good vibes. Yes. And of course, the patrons are always appreciated. We got a lot of stuff to do, man. A lot of important information. So we got Jack Smith. He is being looked at. Now, this guy, was he rogue? I mean, there's a picture of him with that beard. He looks like a crazed communist to me, doesn't he? And so he was subpoenaing phone records on senators and going after all kinds of people. On what basis? And how far up the ladder did that go? And these people in the opposition party today are claiming that Trump is and his people are weaponizing the Justice Department. Are you kidding me? And this mainstream media is ridiculous. Oh, good one. Caught this late last night. Our girl, Letitia James, out of New York, evidently was sued civilly in federal court by a group in New York, and it's in Albany, not in the Southern District, in Manhattan. It's up in Albany for a violation of rights. What do they call that? But it's done under the 1983 statute, so it's an impingement of civil rights. The other one is really a criminal charge, conspiracy against rights under color of law, which is exactly where she should be charged, right? By the DOJ as against Trump and against the voters of New York. This thing is talking about a cover-up of massive voter fraud and election fraud in New York, and had the evidence. And the group had the evidence, and the AG's office really defamed them and got ahead of it and talked to all the different counties and said, oh, these people are liars. This is great. This is by a woman named Nellie, and I forgot her last name, but this is a good little report. It's short and sweet, and I actually started reading the complaint. So I'll put the link in there. Scroll through the first couple of pages. I mean, it's going by the number of actual voters registered and the number of votes. And it's like 1.7 million more. And then the actual votes are coming in at 240,000 more, 400,000 more. And the AG doesn't want to investigate this. But guess what? It was in the election she was involved in and got elected in. And then a guy who is the EPA guy, right? He lost the governorship. And you remember the strangeness that happened in the middle of New York State, where 3 counties had the exact same numbers on the voter turnout. Nah, nothing suspicious there. I mean, the odds, what are the odds on that happening? The exact numbers in 3 different counties. So we said the same thing. So you got this, then you got this, what's his name, Mamdani, who's running for, he's not governor, he's mayor of New York. This is nutsy. But what are you going to do? You're going to put Cuomo there? You're going to put Curtis Sliwa? Or you're going to, I don't know. This is very weird. But let's see what happens. I think it's pretty funny, actually. But I did hear a thing from Ralph Nader, who thought Mamdani was great. And the way he could fund his thing is you put like a 0.1% tax on stock exchange transactions. That'll raise billions of dollars for the city, and therefore you could fund all the programs. Now, how come nobody thought of that before? I don't know. I didn't like, I mean, Nader, I like him generally, and I always did, but he's like sounding a little too woke for my purposes. But that's an interesting plan. But check out the AI circular financing and the workaround out of the Netherlands. Now, is that the Dutch East India Company? You remember them, right? Or is that Rothschild bankers playing this game? And where is all this other influence being peddled from? Amazing. There's a lot more, but that's what I got for you today, campers. All right. I wish you all a happy Halloween. I'm not wearing orange, but I got kind of a fall color. It was nice and cool last night, 63 degrees here in southern Florida. Rare, crisp air. This condo project is a fiasco, but I think we finally got them cleaned up. The dust was horrible, cement dust, super fine, nose clogged, choking. The poor dog was coughing. I cleaned the place twice, as I mentioned. Second time, more dust. The cleaning girls came in here. I practiced my Spanish on Saturday, and I think we've got it under control because I had them paint. So it sealed it, so no more of that dust. Wow. More craziness, but it's just been an amazingly disruptive thing. All right. So hope all is well. Be vigilant, be excellent, and check your supplies, because if they do have food riots by your local grocery store, and if it burns down, where are you going to go to snag your food tomorrow? So I would get out there ASAP, pick up some stuff. But, you know, right now, the media might be picking that up, but mainstream is not. Alt is starting to, like the day before. And I was going to do this discussion several days ago, but I don't want to come out as an alarmist idiot. But there's nothing wrong with being cautious, as a friend of mine would say. Only fools rush in where angels dare not tread. Okay, so doesn't mean you ignore danger. You be aware of it. So it's a distinct possibility. So there you go. Take it for what it's worth. I hope this message finds you well. All right, campers, and now back to our regular programming. God bless, Godspeed, and let's see how this all plays out. All of it. It's too enormous, enormous. And since Google/YouTube has opened up their algorithm, boy, are we just getting pounded with truckloads of crap, aren't we? Well, now. We'll see you later. FJ out.